Today, I'd like to talk to you about air-gap networking, or air gapping. Air gapping is a security measure where computers on a network are physically isolated from unsecure networks and the outside world. Essentially, the ideal situation is to create a network that is completely isolated from all other networks. This is to prevent sensitive data from being transmitted in or out of the network. At least that's the theory. But research has demonstrated how hackers can use unconventional techniques to extract data from air-gapped computers by hijacking various components on the target device. This concept has been investigated for over 20 years. The methods for hacking air-gapped devices range from reading electromagnetic radiation emitted from the target device to sonic or ultrasonic sound emitted from attached microphones or speakers. In most of these methods, close proximity to the target device is important. Often a listening device is required to be nearby, such as a smartphone. However, a new method of extracting data over air gaps has emerged. Now hackers are able to transmit data to and from networks via CCTV cameras and beaming infrared light. This method allows for much greater distances and potentially could be exploited from across the globe. Security cameras are unique in that they have one leg inside of the organization connected to the internal networks for security purposes, and the other leg, or potentially many legs, outside of the organization and specifically at nearby public spaces, providing very convenient optical access from various directions and angles. Most CCTV cameras are equipped with infrared LEDs that are invisible to the naked eye. The attacker uses the infrared LEDs to transmit encoded data by turning them on and off or controlling the intensity of the light. Put simply, the attacker reads this signal much like Morse code and translates it onto a separate device. So you may be thinking, what is this world coming to? How can we prevent such things? Fear not, for this method requires almost perfect conditions. For instance, the device must first be infected by malware. So you may be thinking, okay, well, that right there, that solves it. It's an air-gapped machine. It's never seen the light of day, let alone an outside network. Wrong! Air-gapped security isn't just about keeping the device off any networks. You have to think about the disgruntled employee and their ability to just waltz up, plug in a USB drive, and infect a computer. You IT professionals may be thinking, well, obviously a device with highly sensitive information that's isolated is not also going to have a group policy that prevents any old USB from just being plugged in. So let me throw a hypothetical your way. Who's to say that someone hasn't already figured out a way to infect a computer without having ever touched it, without having ever jumped onto the same closed network? I'm picturing a situation where you've got a very secure room. It doesn't allow for any electromagnetic radiation in or out because of the thickness of the walls. But because the room is secure, you've got a CCTV camera on the inside. Let's call it a server. That camera is on the same network as the CCTV camera on the outside, okay? And what are these camera systems anyway? You've got data being sent from the outside in to a secure network on the inside, right? So you've got data sending and receiving to what is believed to be a completely secure network. And what kind of security measures have been put in place for these camera systems? Do you think the manufacturers thought this kind of thing through? Right, so the military and the government, obviously, they most likely have thought this kind of thing through and implemented preventative measures. But what about the mom and pop shops? People whose entire business runs on an old Windows XP computer. All of their financial information just sitting, seemingly safe because it's not on any network. But remember, this information can be transmitted with no visible signs. And a mom and pop shop is not going to have their financial server behind 2 feet of concrete. Or have a group policy in place to prevent walk-up USB insertion. It's a scary world we live in. One that if we're going to survive, we're going to have to adapt. Technology is only evolving. Who's to say that the concept of infecting an air-gapped PC via air-gapped hacking hasn't already come to fruition? Constant vigilance! We've all got to have it going forward. Now, I hope you learned something today. I know I did. Thank you, and have a great day.